You shot straight, but you shot late. High living. This is the Rundown Podcast.
I'm gonna give you the rundown.
We have a verdict to the members of the public. If you don't think you're going to be able to not show any emotion during the reading of this verdict, I ask you to remove yourself now. There won't be, the court won't tolerate any outburst of any sort from anyone. You will bring me here.
Ready, Your Honor?
Yes.
The jury's now entering into the courtroom.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
Four person. If you would stand and read your verdict, please.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder as charged in count 1 of the indictment. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder as charged in count 2 of the indictment. And we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of convicted felon in possession of a firearm as charged in count 3 of the indictment.
Thank you. Juror number 1, is that your verdict? Juror number 34, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 35, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 11, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 14, is that your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Juror number 17, is that your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Juror number 27, is that your verdict?
It is, Your Honor.
Juror number 33, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 25, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 44, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 23, is that your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Juror number 28, is that your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again for your time and attention to this matter this week. Our system of self-government would not work without your service and sacrifice that you've made. Thanks again for your time and attention. You are excused.
Jurors excused.
Mr. Johnson, the jury having found you guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and convicted felon in possession of a firearm. As the 13th juror, I affirm this verdict. As to the first-degree murder, I sentence you to life in prison. I will set punishment as to the conspiracy and the convicted felon in possession of a firearm after a sentencing hearing. The date for that hearing will be November 1st?
Yes, Your Honor.
November 1st. If there's nothing else to take up,
We will prepare the judgment sheet and pass that forward, Judge.
thank you. And the pre-sentence report. the order for the pre-sentence report.
Instructions will be done. We will see.
Thank you. You may adjourn court.
All rise. This honorable court stands adjourned to Monday morning at 9 a.m.
Say man, hey man, it's OG Jucario. Now back at you with another one. And I had to come slide on the YouTube block because, you know, we have Straight Drop giving a response to his life in prison sentence, right? That he got for killing young Dolph. And as we know now, one of the shooters, Cornelius Smith, he turned state witness on Justin Johnson, right? Testified against him. Say man, hey man. Cooked Music Group, oh my bad, CMG, is basically at the root of all this evil. And Justin Johnson, better yet known as rapper Straight Drop, thought he was going to get a record deal through Anthony Mims, aka Big Juke, Yo Gotti, who was the CEO of CMG. This happens to be his big brother, right, who lost his life at the beginning of 2024. And his murder is still an unsolved mystery to this day. And MPD is real tight-lipped about the murder of Big Juke. And now his name is being brought up in this Straight Drop against the state, right? Memphis, where they're accusing him and have found him guilty of killing young Dolph, as I showed in that clip in the beginning. And life without a possibility of parole. I didn't hear that, but I heard life in prison. So, you know, with Straight Drop receiving this sentence, he looked very, very, composed, as they say. He looked, kind of nervous from what I gathered, but he took it on the chin. And then he took to his Instagram, or at least probably had somebody do this on his behalf, maybe a baby mother, who knows, he might have had a cell phone inside of Shelby County, because at one time they said Straight Drop was calling shots in Shelby County. So maybe he got a hold of a phone. But however it went down, Straight Drop got his message out to the world on IG stories, Instagram. And he said, these N-words taking criminal responsibility. I'm taking street responsibility. Regardless, I'm forever the biggest. They can throw away the keys before I eat the cheese. And this is what Straight Drop, the rapper, right, who had big dreams after gunning down Dolph, that he would be one of the next biggest rap stars coming up out of Memphis, Tennessee. And this is what the prosecutors alleged in their findings, their evidence, right? And the research of Straight Drop says that this is exactly what he wanted. He wanted to be the biggest in the city, right? The biggest coming out of Memphis, Tennessee. And now he has this jacket that he killed Dolph, right? Or had a part in killing Dolph. And here you have a guy who you did this job with, right? Y'all said it was just business. This is what Cornelius Smith described it as. And this business, right? One of these partners got disgruntled business partners, which you can call Cornelius Smith. And he felt like old Justin Johnson, aka Straight Drop, was not being real, was not being truthful about the money that was supposed to be received, the $100,000 from Big Juke, right? Well, if you notice, Justin Johnson kept, telling Cornelius, I'll give you this here and give you that there, and have 7,000, take it or leave it. Things like that would insinuate that Justin Johnson indeed had that cash, right? And at the end of the day, who knows, maybe Govan and Straight Drop, right? Maybe they stiffed old Cornelius. And hey, They split the bag themselves. Left Cornelius out there to hang. But somebody gave up 50 racks. That's right. At least that's what Straight Drop's lawyer implied in court. But the fact that Cornelius had a $50,000 lawyer alleged by Justin Johnson's lawyer, right, Luke Evans, where did that $50,000 come from, right? He said it was CMG. Gave us an answer for that. Now, the prosecution and state, they laid it out all on the line, right? They put it all out on the table, the evidence, right? Put it all on the screen. Showed a timeline of how Johnson and Smith communicated with each other, right? They took Smith's testimony, put it on the closing arguments, right? Everything he said in chronological order, right? And telling the story of how everything happened. And in that story that they're telling, that Cornelius Smith, gave statements against Straight Drop about, right, his involvement in the murder of Dolph. You have Cornelius Smith saying that, look, this is how it happened, and this is straight to the point, right? This is what we did. This is what I did. This is what I witnessed Justin Johnson, aka Straight Drop, also do that day in commission and facilitated with me, right, to get this thing done. So it was kind of hard for Straight Drop to bounce back off of that, right? And Luke Evans just, he wasn't coming hard enough with any type of facts, any type of evidence to show that Straight Drop actually wasn't there. Luke Evans just kept questioning, the fact of it could have been his client, Straight Drop or not. He never showed any type of evidence saying that it wasn't. Only statements from others, hearsay basically, about Straight Drop's character. And Straight Drop never had an alibi. He never said he was a certain place because he couldn't say that. It was on the elevators, right, with time stamps when they see him going in and out of Concourse Apartments, right, where he lived at. So, he couldn't lie about, his whereabouts because they have him all on video back in November of 2021, right? So it's crazy that he had the same clothes on. Straight Drop's connection to the white Benz and how he obtained the Benz, right, was tracked just the day before the murder on the 16th, right? This guy Trayon Ingram, this is who allegedly dropped the Benz off, him and alleged cousin of Dolph. And that's going to be for another story. This cousin, this family member of Dolph, right, this relative, as he claims he was, this alleged cousin of Dolph testified in court that same Mercedes-Benz that was used in Dolph's murder, they tried to get rid of to a couple of Dolph's relatives, right, weeks before the murder, right? So as we've seen the story take a twist when the prosecution, the state, calls up a witness, right, Kirsten Gardner, right? And Kirsten Gardner is supposed to have been riding in the Mercedes-Benz that was traded off to Straight Drop at that Valero station at 3 a.m, right? By none other than Trayon Ingram. And we heard of Trayon Ingram, when this Dolph case was early going on, and he was indicted by a grand jury because he was found guilty of doing a shooting that took a woman's life up in Covington, right? So with Trayon Ingram, passing the car off to Justin Johnson, Straight Drop, hours before Dolph's murder, this already showed that he was already connected to the white Benz, right? Then the damaging, testimony from his co-defendant, Cornelius Smith, just told everything, right? And basically how, the money was supposed to get paid from Unc, who he referred to Big Juke as when he was talking to Jamarcus Johnson, which happens to be Justin Johnson's half brother, right? So we found out Unc was definitely Big Juke of CMG, right? Gotti's big brother. That's right, Yo Gotti, big brother. Anthony Mims is said to have allegedly put out these hits all on PRE, Paper Route Empire Artists. And as we've seen with Grove Hero, the philanthropist out of Memphis, Tennessee, who also said, that Big Juke had possibly put some money on his head, right? And, you know, so with all these facts coming forward and now being, you know, all used against these defendants, right? Straight drop. And obviously, you know, Cornelius Smith then took a plea deal because he's basically taking responsibility as one of the shooters, right? So that leaves him to testify on Justin Johnson, aka Straight Drop. And now everything's out in the open about who played what role and how they did what, and all kinds of, you know, evidence was used against these guys, from, you know, forensics to audio to visual. They got the videos, they got the screenshots, the still shots or whatnot or whatever. But, you know, they got all the evidence pointing straight at Justin Johnson. And he's saying that, you know, well, his lawyer is saying in his defense that it wasn't Justin Johnson. How can y'all, you know, prove beyond a reasonable doubt that it was him, right? He was never at the meetings with Juke and Govan, quit, right? You know, Justin Johnson, DNA wasn't in the car. You know, Luke Evans, he brought up some good points, but they just wasn't enough with, you know, the evidence that was piled against Justin Johnson. And Cornelius Smith testifying on Johnson put the nail in the coffin, man, in his pine box. Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, Cooked Music Group, I'm sorry, my bad, CMG, right, could get RICO'd behind this whole putting hits out, putting, you know, murder for hire plots out, and like almost like it's understood. And whenever you see one of these guys who represents Dolph label, right, anybody he possibly signed and possibly were, you know, just deeming as, you know, this person is Paper Route Empire, you know, with a chain on, a shirt, a t-shirt, you know, this right here is grounds, right, for that RICO, right? These are murders that could potentially, possibly, you know, spiral out of control just because, you know, of what has already been put forth and into the atmosphere about whenever you see a PRE, you know, artist. Now, if they had hits on them, all of these artists, including Dolph, right? It was very suspicious that, you know, it seemed like Johnson knew exactly who he was going to go drill that day. But it seemed like Cornelius, you know, he put it in a way as if we was looking for anybody, right? And we just so happened to see Dolph. And with Justin Johnson moving around all that night, you know, all that morning, getting the car just hours before the murder of Dolph, he had his little girl with him. Justin Johnson had his daughter with him, right? So this is crazy. And then you think about it, it was Cornelius Smith's daughter's birthday that day. And so both of these guys interacted with their daughters, right? Moments, right? Before, you know, it's sad that these guys chose the route of gunning down Dolph, you know. And as for Straight Drop, they're saying he did it for fortune and fame, record deals, right? Things of that nature with the music industry. And the promise to be the next big superstar, big rapper coming out of Memphis. And Cornelius Smith, he just flat out told us that, you know, he needed the money for a drug habit, right? And he also had, you know, a little girl who he was trying to, you know, do for, and he wanted to have her a birthday party. And he just so happened to commit this act of murder on Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., right? On the same day that his little girl's birthday is on. So, you know, I just don't understand how Luke Evans felt like he had a, you know, a shot at getting this guy any type of freedom, man. It was, you know, it's preposterous, but, you know, hey, he had a job to do. And that's kind of crazy when you see that this guy has all this evidence stacked up, piled up against him. And you're steady trying to find any and every little thing to make it seem as if, you know, it's a reasonable doubt in there to where your client can walk. It's a cold game, man. It's a cold, cold game, right? But yeah, as of now, Straight Drop is the only one that's now been convicted. You still got Cornelius Smith. We got to see what's, you know, what type of legal, you know, status is gonna happen with that, even though he cooperated against Justin Johnson. We still got to see what's gonna happen with Hernandez Govan as well, right? So everybody opted for separate trials, and now Cornelius Smith is said to, had played out, obviously, because he took responsibility as one of those shooters. Ain't no need to have no trial for him, right? I mean, what he gonna do? Just repeat what he just said in Justin Johnson's trial? Nah, Justin Johnson's reaction was priceless when the judge handed down that verdict and said that she sentenced him to life in prison. Justin Johnson, couldn't help but just hold his composure like a G. Took it like a G. At the end of the day, that's all they can really say, right? Now, after the verdict, I found it very, very, enlightening that Justin Johnson's state of mind is a you can't break me type of spirit, because with him saying that, they can throw away the keys, but I'll never eat the cheese, is a statement that is still showing loyalty, in my opinion, to the streets, right? To this culture, right? To CMG. So with Hernandez Govan going to trial pretty soon, they've already told us he's taking a proffer agreement, right? He made a proffer agreement where he was truthful about everything that, was to his knowledge, right? On record, but only for that one day, right? And this is going to be very interesting to see what are some of the things that Hernandez Govan told law enforcement about the whole murder for hire plot to kill Dolph, right? And they executed, allegedly, if Govan was involved and is convicted of being involved, right? But yeah, man, so y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section. And this is OG Jucario TV with the latest in rap, hip-hop, celebrity, and urban news. You're watching the Rundown Podcast. I appreciate everybody for spending with me. I appreciate all my subscribers for sliding with your boy every time. And say, man, hey, man, keep hitting that like button, keep hitting that subscribe button, and look, turn on post notification so we can slide whenever I get the drop. You already know what it is, man. It's deeper than Buddha, her, you hear me? And guess what? I'm gone.